This is the SMOROBOT X2C1 pool cleaning robot, and right off the bat, I have to say, this thing looks pretty sleek. The design is modern, compact enough that it doesn't take up much space, but it also feels sturdy. When I first pulled it out of the box, I was surprised by its weight, about 19 pounds. At first, I honestly wondered if that would be a hassle every time I needed to move it in or out of my pool. But the wide, ergonomic handle on this robot really helps, and I got used to lifting it pretty quickly. From my experience, the setup is super straightforward, even if you haven't used a robotic pool cleaner before. There's no assembly required, and you won't be dealing with a tangle of cords because this one's totally cordless. That's actually one of the key features for me. It runs on a powerful 7800 mAh rechargeable lithium-ion battery, and according to the specs, you get up to 150 minutes of cleaning time, sometimes even longer if your pool isn't too dirty. The charging process is really simple. Just pop open the charging port, plug it in, and you're set for the next use. Just make sure the charging port is securely closed before it goes into the pool. What stood out to me right away was the smart navigation. This robot isn't just randomly bumping around the pool. It has built-in AI path planning, which means it can figure out the shape of your pool and create an efficient cleaning route. This is different from older pool cleaning robots that can waste a lot of time getting stuck or wandering around aimlessly. Here, the SMOROBOT X2C1 starts cleaning soon after it's submerged, moving in planned paths to hit every area. Whenever the robot bumps into a wall or an obstacle, it immediately adjusts and finds its way around. I got a bit nervous the first time I saw the SMOROBOT X2C1 pause for a while at the bottom of my pool without moving. For a second, I figured maybe the battery had already run out or it was stuck. But then it started up again just fine. And it turns out it's just recalibrating its path as it goes, kind of like a little thinking pause. So if you see that, don't panic. It's actually working as planned. Here's something I appreciated as someone who'd never really bothered with pool robots before. You don't need to mess with any complicated buttons or app controls. There are just two modes, a floor-only mode, which keeps it lower and focused on the pool bottom, or the standard mode that handles floors, walls, and even scrubs the waterline. The waterline is that ring along the side of the pool where grime and sunscreen tend to build up. Usually, scrubbing the waterline is something high-end, expensive robots can do, but the SMOROBOT X2C1 handles it in standard mode, which is pretty impressive for a robot at this price. When it comes to cleaning performance, I have to say I was pretty happy. The triple motor system is powerful for its size. The suction is rated at 3,300 gallons per hour. What that means is the robot can move a huge amount of water through its filter, grabbing debris like leaves, sand, hair, and even finer particles that you might not spot at first glance. The two large brush rollers on the front are really effective at loosening up gunk and dirt. I always wonder if machines like this can suck up bigger stuff like gravel, and from my experience, it handled both fine and larger debris without any issues. As for climbing, the specs say it's got something called V-Power climbing, with anti-skid treads and some tech that helps reverse direction when needed. In my pool, which has normal straight walls and a tanning ledge, the SMOROBOT X2C1 climbed up to the waterline and handled those steep surfaces just like it promised. If your pool has weird shapes or steeply sloped walls, it can sometimes struggle, especially with slopes over 15 degrees. I noticed that in areas of my pool where the transition is not a crisp 90-degree angle, the robot spent more time figuring out whether or not it could make the climb. But with standard, flat walls, it really shines. One key feature I didn't expect was the auto park function. When it's done cleaning or the battery runs low, the robot automatically moves itself to the nearest wall. This makes retrieval a breeze, especially since SMOROBOT includes a little retrieval hook that you can attach to your pool pole. That way, you don't need to fish around blindly at the bottom. Just hook it and pull it out. The debris basket is top-loading and holds up to 4 liters, which is more capacity than I thought I'd ever need for regular cleaning. The plastic filter mesh catches a lot of fine stuff, so you want to make sure you rinse it out after every cycle. This is probably the closest thing to a downside in terms of maintenance, in my opinion. Sometimes the latch can be a little tricky if you try to yank it open right away, but once you get used to pulling it out and up, it's easy. Just don't force it or you'll risk cracking the lid. Cleaning the filter takes less than 2 minutes for me, so it hasn't been an issue. A couple of things to keep in mind, especially if you're new to robotic cleaners. There's no weekly timer or scheduled cleaning, so every time you want to clean your pool, you just take the robot out, charge it up, and plop it back in when you need it. If you're the type who wants to schedule everything from an app, this probably isn't for you. There's also no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection, so you control everything right from the switch on the device. For my needs, keeping it simple worked better. Not having to deal with any apps or device connections is actually a plus for me, but if you want tons of smart features, just keep that in mind. Seeing how the robot actually moves in the water, I was surprised by how deliberate and systematic it looked. It goes along the floor in a methodical pattern, then climbs up the walls, pauses, and then goes sideways along the waterline. You'll see the LED lights change color as it moves or turns, which is actually a clever little touch. It lets you know what the robot is doing, and it's kind of fun to watch if you're hanging out by the pool. When it comes to results, after a full run, there was a clear visual difference, especially along the waterline and the corners where stuff usually collects. My pool was already pretty clean to start, but even so, the filter basket picked up a surprising amount of fine dirt, little pebbles and leaves I hadn't even noticed. It even got some stray dog hair and a lot of sand. In my opinion, the SMOROBOT X2C1 hits a sweet spot. It's perfect for anyone who wants a reliable, hands-off way to keep their pool clean without paying top dollar or dealing with extra apps and confusing tech. The battery life is solid, the cleaning performance is way above average, and the robot seems built to last. I'd recommend this for pool owners with regular-shaped pools, in-ground, or even larger above-ground pools, up to about 2,500 square feet. If you've got a lot of challenging slopes in your pool, or you want app connectivity, you might want to look at other models, but for most folks, this will be more than enough. From my experience, the only little frustrations were minor things, like making sure to calibrate the robot on a flat surface before use, and being gentle with the debris basket latch. But compared to the time I save not having to manually scrub or vacuum my pool every week, these are tiny issues. The SMOROBOT X2C1 makes pool maintenance way less of a chore, and I've found myself using my pool more often just because it stays cleaner with almost no extra work for me. In conclusion, if you want a robot that's easy to use, great at picking up dirt and debris, with a powerful battery and simple operation, I think the SMOROBOT X2C1 is a strong choice. You can find detailed information about the SMOROBOT X2C1 pool cleaning robot in the comments section. See you in the next video.